was like, Hawaii?
No, we'll not go into Hawaii. It's Accelerator. It sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah. And then Monday started with Blue Startups.
And then when you pitched, and I could totally see it in your eyes. Okay, yeah, this is it.
Started off with a bang. The second day we were there was a tsunami warning. Oh, hello.
We are rolling.
We are rolling. Oh my gosh. I was just looking. The last time we recorded a Building Stacklist was July 15th.
Yeah, one day after my birthday.
So it's been almost exactly 2 months. And I think that episode was called Back in the Saddle. It was like we took a hiatus and now we're back recording. So
True.
This is back in the saddle.
And this is the first one in person.
This is the first one in person in a very nicely well-produced setup.
Yeah.
But so much to catch up on since July
15th.
I'm trying to think of what happened like in and around that time. This was okay. So summer, middle of raising, like starting to try and get the current round funded and those sort of things. But this was prior to Blue Startups. Do you want to tee up Blue Startups?
This was prior to going on a different life adventure.
Oh my gosh. Yes. It was the curveball that neither of us saw. Yeah. Do you want to set that up?
7 weeks in Hawaii. Yeah. Aloha. Mahalo. First aloha, then mahalo, right? I don't know what to say. I've been thinking about what to say, but I'm still not clear.
Yeah. So it was, I have to go back and look at the timing, but so we applied to an accelerator.
When was that?
I think we had probably applied around the time that we recorded last in July, and we were sort of in the beginnings of the process.
No. When was the first application?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, right around that time, I think it was during summer that I had gone out to San Francisco and gone to an event, which was not great. And then, but trying to make the best of that event, I started networking with some of the angels and venture, some of the investors that were tied to that event. And I came across Shanoa Farnsworth, and I emailed her and was like, we should connect. And she actually emailed back and said, you should apply to our accelerator. So I thought, cool. So I applied. Well, first I looked at the website and it was all like waves and surfing and like, and I thought, well, I mean, that's a long shot, but how cool would that be to be in Hawaii? So I applied, and then so David Holt, who runs operations, wrote back and said, hey, let's do an interview. So I did the interview, and then I think it was after the interview, I think I gave you a shout and was like, Hawaii? How feasible is Hawaii?
But we didn't speak about that at the time because we had like a couple of more interviews. So
yeah,
we got accepted when we were in New York together.
We did. We actually took our screening call together.
Yeah.
And then I think it was only a few days later. But so crazy because we just, 2 days ago, so we're in New York now, and about 2 days ago, we just came back from 7 weeks in Hawaii. So now we're sort of like from applying a bit on a whim to having just completed 7 weeks in Hawaii and going.
It's not over.
And it's not over. We're not over with the full Blue Startups Accelerator is 12 weeks. But so I don't know, like, I guess reflecting back, what was your first thought when I was like, hey, Hawaii? Like, is this something we want to do?
My first thought was like, for real, from all the places in the world, Hawaii. Like, for me, it's like White Lotus vibes, and something you see in movies and series, especially coming from Croatia. It's like all across the world, literally
on the other side of the earth.
12-hour time difference, 32-hour flight. I don't know. I was like, are you for real? Then no, we'll not go into Hawaii. It's Accelerator. It sounds ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And then when we were in New York, when we got accepted, like you asked me Hawaii, that's how I asked my husband, was like, what do you think about Hawaii during summer and not like our island in Croatia? So wild.
Right. And he's thinking like, you mean for vacation?
Yeah, vacation.
It's interesting at that moment because then you immediately start thinking about feasibility between family,
How
kids
can we
being
pull it
gone
off?
that long. Like, what was the discussion on y'all's side?
Well, all of that, like how to make it work logistically. You
Yep.
know, summer, no school, no kindergarten, just him, me being away, taking all of that into the account. It was a lot of discussion, I would say. How about you?
It was, I think for Bonnie and I, we'd always, this was the thing. And luckily we sort of were in a place where Matthew had just started kindergarten and both boys were riding the bus together. So there's like less driving to different schools. And luckily Bonnie's got a remote job that she can sort of work from home and juggle it. I mean, it was still a fairly large lift, both boys and dishes and lunches and all the things. But yeah, I think we sort of adapt. I mean, we made the decision fairly quickly, and then but I think it's then you still work through all the sort of difficulties of, the parts of the household that I kind of run or mentally manage, or and those sort of things. But and then I started trying to figure out how do I connect with the boys from 6 hours time difference and
Just 6.
Yeah, just 6. I know. You're on the other side. Good morning. And they're like, good night. But yeah, I think I'm super lucky that we're both in the position to be able to be like, let's do it. I know there's probably a lot of people that would be a deal breaker.
Yeah, for sure. I think if it happened sooner or later than this period concretely, I wouldn't be able to do it because funny enough, my husband took a paternity leave and we didn't know that this will happen. So It was like, okay, like some stars aligned and at the same time it's feasible. It can be doable.
Yeah. I think the stars did align, and it also aligned in the journey of building Stacklist. We had just gotten to the place where we had sort of built the version 1 of everything. But I think you and I were also looking at the whole thing going, okay, we built the whole thing, but starting to think about like go to market and target audiences and how do we craft the messaging. And so it was actually, I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect timing to then land in Hawaii and start immediately with Blue Startups on, okay, who is your, ideal customer and what's the messaging? And so it just all worked out perfectly. What was your thought like when you got on the plane for the first time with all your stuff and thought, I won't be back for a while?
I don't know. I think all of this experience, the entire 7 weeks from the beginning now in New York, feels like a different life, because when you have 24 hours a day to focus on you and business and not kids and day-to-day grocery list, laundry and so on, it's another level.
Yeah.
It's like a different, something that you're not used to anymore.
Right.
So it's like living in a different universe for 7 weeks. And yeah, it's been wild.
I think that did give us, though, and again, super fortunate that we were able to do this, but I think it gave us the ability to do that sort of focus together, like for that much time, which typically we sort of overlap a couple of hours and we've both got family and responsibility, but to be able to just go heads down and focus on making product improvements and messaging and, ideate together and execute like in that way was I think took us much further, faster than it would have been had we just sort of kept our normal routine.
So what are your thoughts beginning to the end?
I think when I got there, first we stayed. So first we got there, we were in sort of temporary housing in Waikiki. And so I've got so much stuff. I had this big green duffel bag that was just like unwieldy and I'm getting out of the Uber and I'm trying to like take all my stuff into this hotel. It was like an old school surfer hotel. No perks. but I think it was great because it was like $100 a night or something like that. But really crazy to be in Waikiki. I mean, sort of a resort capital, of the world. And then to meet up and go, okay, we're both in Hawaii. And then I think the next day was our first Blue Startups kind of. So we were here on a Sunday, and then Monday started with Blue Startups and got to meet all of the people in our cohort. It was 7 companies that were in the portfolio. So Blue Startups had invested money and time and effort into those companies. And then there were 5 advisory companies. So that couldn't, for one reason or another, sort of take funding. But so that was a total of 12 companies that were sort of with us, all the founders and founding team members. So it was amazing to sort of get to meet all those people the first day.
In person in Hawaii. I'm still like, I don't know. I think I caught myself a couple of times zooming out on Google Maps and just, I cannot fit Hawaii and Croatia into the same screen. Yeah. And it was like, oh my God.
It is really crazy if you do that. I think mentally I've always sort of just like thought of Hawaii as just kind of off the coast or whatever. But then you zoom out and you're like, well, you're just in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. So really crazy to be there at that time. And then it started off with a bang. The second day we were there was a tsunami warning. So literally, like it was mid morning or early afternoon. All of a sudden the sirens start blaring and everybody's like, okay, everybody's got to get out of this co-working space that we're in. And we didn't really have anywhere to go because the place we were staying was right on the beach. So you're not going to like go back to your hotel. So how do we...
Beaky bikes.
Yes.
Beaky bikes.
We immediately got on rental bikes and just pedaled north like 5 miles.
It was fun.
It was really surreal. Like you had basically traffic was backed up for like an hour or two. Nobody was moving. And everyone getting out of town. Sweating like the dickens. Like I'm just like sweating all over. I'm a backpack on. We're just like cranking through until we got to a sign that said, you're now leaving the imminent danger zone. And then we were like, all right, I guess we should get a poke bowl or something. What were you thinking during the evacuation period?
I never went through that.
Yeah.
Like tsunami warning, are you for real? I was so happy that my family was sleeping though. Like,
oh, yeah.
It was, I think it was 2:00 in the afternoon, and that's 2 in the middle of the night. And I was like, oh my God, so good because nobody will text me for a couple of hours. And I'm like, okay, I can focus on what's happening. Yeah. And by the time they woke up and started calling and so on, it was already over. So it was fun experience. Yeah.
Well, and you don't know everybody's heading out of town and the news is just like, so we found the highest place we could get to, and then just hung out until like, I think it was about 9:00 when the first waves sort of hit the North Shore, and it kind of seemed like it wasn't that big a deal. Like it was sort of like 3 or 4 foot waves or something like that. So then we just walked back to Waikiki, which took quite a while. But I think I closed my rings like a couple of times on that one. But it was very odd because then we walked back to Waikiki and we're standing on the shore at like 10 something. There's nobody out. And it was just dead silent. Yeah.
Nobody on the road and nobody on the beach and nobody on the sidewalks.
Except for us, of course, taking pictures of this.
Of course. What do you do?
Crazy moment. And right at that moment, I thought, I'm going to bed. Like, I'm all done. This is obviously a non-event. So, and then crazy the next day, everyone's like, all right, let's get back to work. And what are we doing? And so that was. Yeah.
We went through from tsunami, ER visit, fire alarm in the surf break.
Right.
What did we cover?
It was a couple of emergency type things, but so that was the way we kicked it off with the tsunami. And then really with Blue Startups, our first focus was customer interviews. So really the first week or two was like hyper focused on customer interviews, which is unique for us a bit because we were still figuring out like, who are we focused on?
Yeah. I think actually those customer interviews, now that we focused and niche down on B2B, are like not that relevant anymore. I mean, they're always relevant, but it's like funny to think about how you're finding your ideal customer. And at the beginning, it wasn't that we are having conversations with. So
it did spur us to get to the thing that we want to focus on. But you're right. In the very beginning, we started with what we thought was our ideal customer, which was influencers, content creators, people who make a living off of sharing content on the internet. And so we were interviewing those people to really, and at that point, it's still hard to tell the Stacklist story.
Yeah.
It was still very much like, okay, so there's, all right, like you can save everything and then you can like share it. It's still just very abstract. And it took us a couple of weeks to really narrow down that messaging. And
I think
much
for
harder.
me, I realized how difficult the storytelling is when Joy, who was our mentor and like an amazing storytelling person, was also struggling. And he's the type of person that can get in your company what you're doing and spit out and like, talk to me like I'm 5, I'll get it. But he was still struggling with us. He was like, yes, but maybe, I don't know. And then it took him a couple of weeks to get also our story right. So
I think most of the people that we sort of, there were other mentors and team members that I think we all sort of took a while going through the journey of explaining Stacklist. I guess what's so different is if we were just building, say, a competitor to Zillow and just showing rental homes or homes to purchase, then fairly easy to like drill down into this is why it's better than that. But with this, because we're doing it so differently, and this is a paradigm that even as we were doing user interviews during one of our events, I had 4 people be like, you know what's strange is I've never seen anything like this, or I've never seen anything operate like this, or this is a much different business model than I've thought of. And so more and more, as people start to understand it, they go, okay, I see why this is different. And I guess that's why it also makes it, because we're doing something that's not a workflow or a process or a model that you're typically used to using, that it takes a minute to kind of.
Yeah. And also because we are B2B2C, which is always harder to explain than B2B or strictly B2C or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how we drill down on that niching down and storytelling, that when last week in Hawaii we had 2 events, Demo Day and
Beta Brews. Yeah.
And when you started to talk to people and explain, okay, but first I always start with customer journey because it's customer in front of me. And then when you bake in like the B portion, they're like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Right.
Like,
yep.
How many times do you go to the hotel check-in and ask for recommendations? Every single time. And then everybody can relate to that.
But if I do that in something that I would use every day as well, then that's the connection that I think most people don't like, that we're not really used to doing. But yeah, I would say that was probably definitely the most valuable time I think we spent, is going through the customer interviews and the storytelling and messaging with such rigor and focus that we kind of hit our aha moment. Do you want to tell that one?
Oh, for what specific?
For finding our sort of niche of like local experts.
It took a while. Like as you said, from customer interviews, then we had like an Uber thing where we drove to the swap market and you were asking the lady driver how many times she gets question about recommendations. She was like, always. Then we were like, maybe Uber drivers. And that all led to that story of B2B hotels and real estate and local recommendations. And that hit just right. And that was like, okay, yeah, this makes perfect sense. But to your point, I think it wouldn't be able to do that if that V1 portion of the app wasn't ready to enroll all the customer journey, because you wouldn't have that specific experience if you wouldn't use it otherwise.
Right.
So I think it all came together perfectly in this moment, that now we are so focused and we have our clear path forward. So
right. Yeah, it's interesting looking back on the recommendations and the suggestions, opinions that we've gotten. I think so many times people consult with companies like ours and go, okay, don't build too much. Don't build too many features. Founders are always just like focused on features. But really, we wouldn't have been able to get to the place that we had and start immediately selling against our new sort of customer profile had we not had the full network going. If it was just one portion, like, oh, you can have a profile and you can share some things, but it didn't have everything else, then it wouldn't have hit right.
Yeah, because you wouldn't use it.
Right.
You would use it for, okay, checking in and scanning and seeing what's out there. But if you don't have the ability to save to your profile, if you don't have the app that you can save from anywhere that you are, Instagram, LinkedIn, doesn't matter, then it wouldn't be the same story. It wouldn't be the same app.
Yeah. If you can't connect all the dots, then you don't really get that aha moment.
But you tell about our melting days as well.
That's also
important to say.
I think as you're going through this process, and sometimes we've had this async when we're going through different things or periods, but very interesting in these moments when you have so much information, you're trying to process so much information. We're trying to talk to influencers, and then we start talking to Uber drivers, and that sort of leads to, do we also do this for hotels and real estate or maybe Airbnb? And then we're getting input like, don't do Uber, but maybe focus on hotel. And you're sort of trying to process and make those decisions in those moments. And you have so much input coming in. I think we have an Instagram photo of you and I like this. Like our face is just like melting.
And it was just Monday.
And it was just Monday. Yeah, most Mondays were just like so much input and so much decision fatigue, and that it almost felt like, okay, I just have to stop doing anything and I need to just kind of sit here for a little while and like try and rebalance. How do you feel like, is that the first time you've gone through anything like that from a startup perspective?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've been in startup most of my life, but as a developer, this was the first time from the different side of not just coding, looking at my black screen and, okay, I know what to do. This was more like, okay, what you said, bunch of input from different sides and consolidating that story and thinking about broader picture and like, okay, where are we going? Who are we targeting? How? And that all comes to play to development as well, because we have to build something that we don't have at the moment, maybe in that specific niche. But yeah, it was melting / fun / consuming / I don't know, you fill it in.
How is it from a CTO? Obviously, the co-founder brings in a lot of the being subject to so many more parts of the business. But how is it from a CTO perspective? You figure it's generally like hyper focused on architecture and engineering and people and code and the roadmap and those sort of things. Has it been harder or beneficial, but also harder, like just being exposed to so much of the business side of things?
Beneficial and harder, because we had so many workshops during the day and we were in co-working space and a lot of people are there asking you questions, and of course you want to help everybody, but at the same time I have my thought process and like, okay, we are doing this, but how do I develop it? My brain always thinks about, okay, how do I execute on this? All of the stuff. So I think I was at one point for sure overwhelmed. And I think I pulled like a bunch of 1 a.m.s, 2 a.m.s, 3 a.m.s to be able to code and push features out that we needed.
Right. And
then wake up the next morning and do again all the business stuff, workshops and so on. So
after a couple of espressos.
After like many shots of coffee. I'm really grateful for the experience and all the things I learned. But it was hard at times, definitely.
Would you say for other sort of co-founder CTOs in that, even if it's not like CTO or COO or CFO, any other C-level that's not CEO, that you would recommend doing that level of sort of integration and knowledge and understanding of the full.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, every knowledge is great knowledge for me. Like, I always try to get into the conversation with people and take something out. It doesn't have to be necessarily work conversation, any kind of conversation. I like to take something out of that. Being able to spend 7 weeks specifically with all types of different people and really knowledgeable people, and to see how they are telling your story and their inputs and thought processes and all of that, it's like, I think it brings you to another level. After that, you're not the same person. Like, you see things differently and you execute on things differently, I would say.
Right.
How was it for you?
Having more context into all the different parts and pieces. Oh, I think it's absolutely necessary that while it takes both of our brains to sort of get into something, to have enough and especially for you to have enough context in all the business pieces, means that you and I can make better decisions on when we think about fundraising and the cap table and the story and the messaging. And you're unique, though, that I would say of any technical, engineer, architect, CTO, having as much understanding and hands in even product and all the other pieces that I think generally I would assume that other co-founders or other C-levels is invaluable, because it makes it different. Like, if I were to, I'm not going on vacation, but if I were to go on vacation for 2 weeks, that you still,
jail.
but that you would have enough context and the ability to sell or customer service or product or answer or pitch or, to the degree that, that is not typically, I think, normal in that setup.
But would you think did you ever thought me being there and doing all the business stuff took away a lot of my time from coding and just pushing stuff around?
I mean, I think it did, but I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good trade-off, because now you've been saturated into all the things that I have too. So when we sit down to look at things, your context and understanding of how we're going to open the new round and what it's going to be and who's going to be involved and is so much more advanced than had you just either skipped or not done the business stuff and just like coded. So, but you still shipped unbelievable amounts of.
That's me plus Cloud Code.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think about so we transitioned from the lower end surf hotel to Surf Break. So you want to tee up the context of Surf Break?
Ooh, Surf Break was amazing. So that's a co-living space where we spent 6 weeks, a little bit less maybe than 6 weeks, and 25 people there, a lot of younger kids who are, traveling, working and exploring. But such an amazing community which is so welcoming, and like they'll do anything for you, which in this world for me is amazing. So being able to meet all of those people, and especially Danny, who is managing the place, it was
Danny's like the heart of Surf Break. She's the mother, Surf Break mother.
Yeah.
So to visualize it, basically you go to this large tower and you go to the 40th floor and you come out of the elevators and the whole floor is just kind of like dorm room set up, kind of all the way around. Everyone's got their own sort of single or double, and you've got windows looking out onto Hawaii and the beach, and then there's a common living area and a kitchen and a dining room, and let's see, there's a conference room, shared bathrooms, but essentially each of us got our own, we got our own rooms. And I don't know. I love the ability of immediately just being sort of like plugged into a community that you could hang out with or chat or not, depending on what you were doing.
Depending on what you want, yeah. I remember first night we were there, I rolled up the blind sheets and I had this amazing view of Diamond Head and the entire city. I was just laying in bed. I couldn't fall asleep, of course, because I'm in Hawaii. Like, how can I fall asleep? And thinking to myself, how surreal this is. Like, literally, how lucky am I to got that experience and live that for a while. That was like a wow moment that kept on going. And
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know.
That group was amazing. And I think we had experiences going to either surfing with them or hiking or, and just, but also being able to have a space where we could work, come back from Blue Startups, sort of dump all your stuff, make some popcorn, and go into the conference room and just keep kind of cranking on stuff. So it was amazing. Surf Break became a customer of two different accounts. Yeah. So now Surf Break is set up as a Stacklist account holder for both their Mexico property and their Honolulu property. And we even had an event where we threw a party. It was pizza, beer, and curation. And we had all of the different people who came in from both Blue Startups and from Surf Break. And while they ate pizza and drank beer, we were like, okay, give me your favorite place. Yeah. Martina's sweating. And we're like, give me your favorite places. Give me your favorite taco joints. Where's your favorite beaches? Where's your favorite surf spots? And I think we put into the Surf Break Honolulu account 230 of the best places all around Oahu, which was so much fun to then end. And immediately you've got this robust account that is the people who live and breathe that area were giving all of the best that they loved. And now that lives on an account that when a new person comes checking into Surf Break, they can just scan a QR code and get all those recommendations. That was such a fun moment. Just even proof, stress testing, as well as Martina stress testing and stress testing Martina, but also just executing and watching it in real time being used in that way was. And
I pushed community cards like a couple of days ago, and people are actually using that. They were like, no, I'll put mine recommendations. Right. I'm like, oh my God.
That's Martina pushing to production the day before a feature that everyone started using that day.
Yeah, crazy.
But that's startup. That's that startup mentality of just pushing it, testing it, pushing it, testing it. I love that. That's what I feel like you don't get in bigger companies where it's everything sort of has all the cycles and but I love those.
Yeah, my cycles are test locally, push to dev, push to staging, push to production. That's it.
Test it live. Exactly. What was the hardest part for you of the process?
Well, I think just that thought of not executing enough, because I'm used to, my day-to-day life when I'm at home is developing. So just that thought that I'm not doing that, and that ingrained feeling of that I should be doing that. So I think that was something that ate me up a lot of nights also. By the way, Surf Break from midnight to 1, such a quiet place. You can sit on the couch, look at the beach and just, do your stuff. So I think that portion was the hardest for me. Just to, it took me a while to consolidate with myself. Okay, I'm doing other stuff now and not so much coding. So it took me a while to get rid of those 2 a.m.s.
You still shipped a ton of things though.
I know, but I didn't have that feeling because of the day-to-day workshops and stuff like that. What was it for you?
I think for me, it was probably the periods where we had so much input from so many people who are experienced and talented and have so many good recommendations, but also getting all of the recommendations of what we should do all at the same time, and then really needing to process and execute or make a decision really quickly. And usually, especially working remote, you have more time I can just go out and take a walk, or I can just turn off the computer for a minute and just sort of be quiet and listen. And it's harder in those moments when you just got lots and lots and lots of input, to sort of be quiet and listen to yourself and say, I think this is the way that we're going to go. So I think those are the moments when I had more overwhelm and more short-circuited my entrepreneurial brain, so much so that we were in the mall once. And I remember coming to, I think there's a video on my Instagram, coming down the escalator and saying, where did we park? And Martina starts laughing. I'm like, I can't tell you which way we parked the car. I think, did we come down this way or did we come down that way? And Martina's just laughing and laughing. And I think she's just getting on to me. So I'm like, I'm really trying to backtrack my steps to think about where we parked the car, until we get to the place that Martina reminds me we didn't drive, we walked. And so then immediately but I can't tell you how we got into the mall. I can't tell you if we parked or if we walked or drove, but just so much that it's almost like too many tabs open and there's just little processing left, so much that I can't tell you what's going on right now. So seeing the physical manifestations of those kind of things was...
What was the best?
I would say that the past 2 weeks at the very end, where we really felt like we found our stride, we felt like the story was crisp. It started resonating. We went and did the pitch at the college, and that one was the first time it felt like it just flowed. I wasn't so much in my head trying to say specific things, just kind of felt natural when I pitched. And then from that point to also starting to have investment discussions afterwards and starting to think about wrapping and demo day. And I think that's when I felt good enough that it felt like, okay. And we started closing a few new deals and properties, a hotel. That's when it felt like, okay, now I feel like we can take all of this that is the culmination of Blue Startups and take it back out into the world, back out into real life, and execute against it and know really, really quickly where we need to go. So I think being able to have that focus, I feel it wasn't one thing, but it was the culmination of those. The feeling of the last 2 weeks felt really good, great. Less confused, less decision fatigue, and more now I'm just ready to execute.
For me, it was more like appreciation of our dynamics. Seeing that a lot of people struggle with either one part or the other, mostly engineering, I have to say, lucky for you. But mostly engineering, people are really struggling to get a good CTO or a good business relationship, around certain portions. I think made me more appreciative and dynamic that we have. It's so good. So if we are actually able to do this in person,
exactly.
Next time it will be over screen. So
right.
I think that was the best part for me.
Yes.
Just figuring out, okay, this is amazing.
I would say so too. I think it's got to be so hard we just sort of lucked out. So appreciate to the universe for our dynamic in that way, but it's got to be so hard that even choosing and picking co-founder and knowing whether or not you're going to get along with this person, both from the way you see the world, humor, the fact that we can just sit down and have breakfast and not say anything for 20 minutes because we both just need to rest our brains, but just to kind of know that intuitively and to flow well together like that, versus I imagine it's got to be hard even if you pick somebody that you feel like has good business acumen and could execute, if you're not really sure yet, but to pick somebody and then start in on the personal day-to-day and going through difficult things like this accelerator, you're not really sure whether you're going to mesh.
Yeah.
Energy, focus, ambition, all the different things that go into it. So
exactly, yeah. That for me was
lucky us.
no, but honestly, that for me was really amazing.
Yeah.
Especially me coming from different culture as well.
Right.
It's we are not the same. We don't have the same, how would I put it? We don't have the same process of things, and we don't think the same, and there are cultural differences that has to be taken into the consideration. Right. And when you combine all of that, plus me being really good in humor in other language.
Just a little plug for myself. Yeah. I'm very humorous.
Thank you. But no, just, that was really amazing because so we did Monday's daily stand-up where we were talking about highs and lows every week and seeing how people really struggled with those lows and, oh my God, I cannot find the right person to execute on X and Y and Z. knowing that we can scale up and down really fast and that we do not struggle with those dynamics, that we struggle, okay, with something else, of course,
Right.
but that I think was the best outcome for me. And then when you pitched and when you were locked in the story, you know, like I could totally see it in your eyes. Okay, yeah, this is it. Locked in. I don't
Yeah.
have to have
Turn
any
the hat
more.
backwards, just like focused.
And that was the best.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, my lows during daily stand-up were usually that I lost to some competitive. I lost in darts to Martina. I lost in bowling to Martina. I lost at Dance Dance Revolution to Martina. I did win bowling, I think, once. And I won darts.
I let you.
Oh, that was. Oh no, you threw the game. But yeah. What would you say? Okay, so now we've gone through Blue Startups, and now we're here. We're in New York. Oh, we got to talk about what's tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Award.
For what?
So tonight in, what is it, 1:39? So in about 3 hours, we're going to the World Trade Center, and we're going to the Fast Company Design, what is it? Innovation by Design Awards for 2025, and we were named a finalist in the small but mighty category. So this is companies under 100 employees, and we were a finalist. So we were just
so close, yeah.
so close. But it's amazing because you look at the other category, like there's no, I think Hewlett Packard was like one of the, like there are other companies in and around. And it's so amazing to see. You can see it online. There's Stacklist on Fast Company. So we're going to get a little. This is the pose. Should I do the pose like this with the award?
Wow.
Oh yeah. Throw the shakas.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Mahalo. So that's gonna be fun. Yeah, we'll go to the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
Do a little fancy award thing.
Oh my God, I'm so looking forward to that. It will be like the perfect closure, and that's it. Tomorrow I'm flying out to Croatia.
Yeah. Mic drop.
Like.
Yeah,
bye.
And then you'll land, and then your brain will go, "Oh, time to execute! Like, time to get this thing, this rocket ship moving even faster."
Sorry to tell you, but no, I will not do.
Oh no! Oh no! We have to take a break.
Yeah.
And then also, we are very, very close. This week, we will likely close our first funding round. So we will have closed $500,000. $500,000 into Stacklist. And I think that is, I mean, it was, in my mind, it's always been inevitable. We're going to raise a bunch of money around Stacklist because the idea is inevitable. But it's still, when you take a step back and you think back to, when I showed you the first really rough kind of prototype of a Chrome extension that saved things, to think about then raising $500,000 and going to the Fast Company, and going to Hawaii, and it's amazing.
Did that happen?
yeah, exactly. Is this real life? It's like David and going to the dentist. Yeah. So this actually feels like it closes a very interesting chapter. It's like friends and family round, Accelerator, V1 of the network, version 1 of the network and the apps and everything like that. And now we're going to open up chapter 2.
Yes.
So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. And we got to do these more often so that we start capturing more.
Yes. Online.
Yeah. We will do them online. But
yeah,
amazing.
No, so good. I still can't believe that all of that happened. So it will take me a while, but we still do have San Francisco as well.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So after this, we will. Oh, yeah. So the chapter's not closed yet. So, well, actually, I would say what's really interesting is that we'll go back to San Francisco in 2 weeks with Blue Startups, and we'll start doing a bit of a roadshow, talking to mentors and VCs and investors, and then going to San Francisco Tech Week. Somehow, I feel like that is part of sort of chapter 2, though. Like, you know what I mean? In the beginning of raising the new round, raising the formal pre-seed round, and having that different story with the financial projections now that we've sort of understood what our go-to-market strategy is in a very clear and concise way. So that actually starts chapter 2.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
It feels like the new chapter
it
as
does.
well. Because somehow, even though Blue Startups is not over yet and we have that week in San Francisco, it feels like this part is done.
It is. Yeah.
So yeah, we niche down, focused, did all of that. Now, as you said, like we'll take that and try to execute on, and
Right.
then San Francisco feels like that execution is beginning.
Yeah.
You know, just
out
like,
into the world.
yeah.
Hey
the second
everyone,
push.
guess what we've got?
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Well, let's go. We'll go to
Build.
go build. Yeah, exactly. And we'll try and do another one of these soon. Maybe when you get back and I'm settled, you're settled. Pre-San Francisco, we'll do another one of these.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or post. We'll see.
Or post. That's right. Maybe we do one in San Francisco. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll be back soon.
See ya.
Mahalo.